Now it's being good.
Thank you. You're right.
That's okay. Sounds tough time. Okay, Dave, I'll take that motion. You want?
5 minutes?
Yeah.
Sure. Mr. Chairman, I move that the Community Planning Commission vote to accept the minutes dated October 17th, 2023 as written.
I second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Corrections or additions? Hearing none, all in favor, please.
Excuse me, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah,
Sorry, yeah, just one correction on page 6, the first item listed on page 6 says 3 in favor, 1 opposed. I believe it's 3 in favor, none opposed.
oh, okay. All right,
Thank you.
okay, then.
Brian, you're reading now.
So, then let me, as corrected, your motion
Yeah.
still stands? And your
Yeah.
second still stands as
Yeah.
corrected, Jeff? Thank you.
Yeah.
So, all in favor, I'm gonna do roll call. Jeremiah, how say you?
Aye.
And Ryan,
Aye.
Jeff?
Aye.
And Dave?
Aye.
And myself, aye. Let the record, and opposed, let the record show, 5 in favor, no opposed. Okay, you might as well do this 25 to 27 another road. Which one are you here for?
I'm here for the second one, 58 Concord Street.
58 Concord Street.
Uh,
You're here for
uh,
another road? Oh, okay. Okay, is everybody taking a look at that and everything? I do want to say, I appreciate what you're doing.
Thanks.
In other words, instead of trying to just work or just ask for a variance and everything, you've got to keep it right. And I think that's commendable. So I want to thank you for that. That's the way it should be done if it's possible. It's a lot more, it's more work. But it's correct way to do it. So any questions or comments?
Yeah, I have a question. If you go to the aerial or even the key in the civil Sullivan plan, they show the neighbor on 27. Are you 25?
I'm 25.
They show that 27 has a shed that's about 27 feet from your corner of your garage right now. But if you go to the civil plan, the A&R plan, there's no garage shown at all on the plan.
Their existing garage was demoed a year or 2 ago.
So a year ago, so all the aerials.
So it's probably not up to date.
Okay, so the key, the aerial, all these things, like, again, the key locus plan shows that garage.
Yeah, they plan to build a new garage, so in the near future.
Okay, and so they're gonna move it 10 feet from this new lot line, I'm
They'll be
assuming?
building 10 feet from this new lot line, yes.
Okay,
I'm sorry, did you say your name for the record? please?
oh,
My
sorry.
name is Nicholas Gage.
Okay, that's sorry, beneath the recorder can hear you, but he can't see you, so. So make sure we get that in there.
And then what size are you moving? You're gonna have about 21 feet, 21.
I'm going to expand my garage about 12 feet or like keeping it 10 feet from the lot line.
Yeah, okay. Which would come under, that's Jerry,
Yeah.
building commissioner, check, all that kind of stuff. I'm just curious what your goal is. That's with a lot of this. Yeah, that's the case, that I'm cool with this. If that building's been demoed, what I was fearful of is we're kind of creating another problem where then 27's garage would be under 10 feet. So if that garage, as you are stating here, is not there, and I don't have a way to verify that, because again, if you go on Google, it shows it there, but I trust you. So I'm good, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. All right, you.
Oh, you want me to?
You want to do a motion? Or I can have.
I gotta write it.
I can have, Ryan.
Do you have any questions? Anybody in the audience? Anybody
Funny,
online?
I'm here for something different, but I am in a butter, but no issue.
Okay.
Yeah,
Really? Okay.
I was served with a butter and I'm here for a separate
Gosh.
issue topic.
Yep. Okay, so Mr. Chairman, I move that the Community Planning Commission vote to endorse an approval not required, the plan entitled Plan of Land Located in North Reading, Massachusetts, Middlesex County, dated November 21, 2023, drawn by Sullivan Engineering Group, LLC.
Can reference the 25 and 27 Nutter Road, A&R.
Yeah, 27, yeah. Yep,
Make sure you reference those in the motion.
as noted.
Okay. Gotta keep them on top of things. All right, do I have a motion? Do I have a second?
Second.
Oh, good. Thank you, Jeff.
Oh, you're welcome.
Do I have a motion and a second? Any further discussion? Okay, hearing none, all in favor? Jeremiah?
Aye.
And Ryan?
Aye.
Okay, and Jeff,
Aye.
Dave,
Aye.
and myself a aye, so that 5 in favor, no opposed.
Is the plan here to endorse? Okay, great. Perfect.
I use my own marker.
Come over here, but I'm sure, yeah. Do you need, the others to come, or is
No,
3
we
good?
just need the three.
Okay,
Three is all.
that's what I figured. What's it when it means everybody's?
No,
It's just 3.
3, and then for special permit, it would be 4.
So,
Yeah.
I just remember
No need.
something was over 3,
Yeah.
so special permit.
Shit, lane.
21.
Yep.
Yeah, so the cul-de-sac, it's kind of funny. Because they're on the same, they have a different property right in there, which is hilarious.
Okay, you need it now.
Want to go right to that?
It actually has a need a so I can copy it. Sharon, will you comment?
Yeah.
Alright.
But we get completed. Or it's just yeah.
I have a question.
You can do that after, once it's after. We'll do before.
66, what is the plan?
Yeah, that would be not good.
There's nothing tonight because we don't yet have the recite opening bonds. We thought we would by tonight, but we don't. So we'll do it.
All right. So 148, 150 Park Street.
Same with that property. We'll do them both the next meeting.
Okay, so.
Okay, well, it says in my thing, and,
And what other one did you say was the park and
one
Winter?
48, 150 Park Street, we don't have everything we need for that, and
Yep.
66 Winter Street, we also don't have the
Got it.
decorations for that as well, so we're gonna move right on
So
to.
Concord is supposed to have a time on the agenda. It's supposed to be at 8 o'clock because it was advertised that way,
58
but
Concord.
so we should wait till later.
What do we
Yeah,
got?
we got a couple of things, so we'll do this
So
later.
let's do other stuff, right?
So, yeah, so, I wanna do, Eaton Circle, because that's just a bond release.
Yes, they are ready to go. They've done everything. Street acceptance is done.
Yeah, that was about one of the most trouble-free subdivisions we've done in a while. They did a good job.
They did.
We stayed right on top of it, got it done, so.
Do this one?
Yes, sir.
Got it.
If you would, please.
Eaton Circle, right? Bond
Yes, sir.
release.
Yep.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, I move that the Community Planning Commission vote to release the remaining bond in the amount of $68,820.13 and the site opening bond in the amount of $5,000 for the Eaton Circle subdivision.
A motion, have a second?
Yeah, make a motion.
Oh, he made the motion already.
Oh, okay, second the motion. Sorry, I was making notes. Sorry.
Okay, all right, I have a motion and a second, but I do have a quick question, if you know the answer to this. $5,000 bond, that's a street opening bond,
That's
right?
been for street opening, yeah.
Well, don't they file that and leave that?
No,
They can take that back?
yeah, as well. So we line onto that.
I have a street opening bond, I never get it back.
Oh, because
What about me?
so I don't know.
No, I'm just curious, because I don't recall us ever getting the street opening bond back.
So the DPW has their
Right,
bond, and I don't know what happens to that bond, because I
Okay.
don't see it, but for our bond, the only reason we get that is in case they do some kind of damage to
Right,
something.
where they connect their road to the street.
Yeah, and then once they're done, if they haven't damaged anything, they
And
just,
it's also a sidewalk bond, if they damage, if somebody damages a sidewalk going onto a property, they either fix it or their bond gets pulled.
anything that belongs to the town.
Okay, it's not just, I just wanted everybody to answer that. It's because it was separated out from the rest of the bond, that was the thing that Keaton said, wait a minute, got a street opening bond, the bond you gave them, that was reason. Yeah.
I think a lot of the time people ask for that 5,000 back when they're done with the work, but they haven't finished the acceptance, we have the other bond, so in this case, I think they just never asked for
I
it.
suppose if it's a cash bond, they can get it back, but if it's just a regular bond,
I think it's chilly, not gonna raise the young a little bit. Did I hear someone say they were home?
I thought it felt kind of cool in here, but whatever, then I can leave that on.
I'll raise it like a degree.
I'm an outdoors person, I don't mind.
Oh, I am too, and I kind of do.
Yeah. I was gonna say, you don't have the kind of job where you can go all the time, although.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
All right, okay, so we have a motion in a second. I'm gonna call for a vote. So all in favor? Jeremiah?
Aye.
And Ryan?
Aye.
And Jeff?
Aye.
And Dave?
Aye.
And myself, aye. So each circle the bond is released. And you can take that from there, so. Yep. Okay. So I kind of listened to the end, 35 Cedar Street subdivision extension of time, maybe some comments on that, so.
Well, they realized that their time frame had come to an end, and they're not done, but they are in process with the work. So they were just asking for another year's extension. They have begun, and we have inspections arranged and everything, and they have to go.
Is their bond still good?
The bond, well, they're not ready to ask for a lot release yet, so there's no
So
bond.
they bonded, they just, okay,
Yeah, it's just their own property at this point, so it's not a sellable lot yet.
right. Okay,
So, I think that, that's really looking.
so does everybody understand what's going on?
Yeah, I remember, previously the application, so.
Yeah. Jeff, we're gonna be up to date on this.
Yeah, well, I'm sorry, yeah,
Cedar Street, you know, where Cedar Street is, right by intersection of New Street and Chestnut Street.
oh, yeah, I know exactly where that road, yeah,
All right, well, up the very end of that, the guy built a house, but when he bought the land, he got quite a lot of land, and then, but he added a couple more pieces on to deals, so that he created another house lot. And so he extended that Cedar Street in order to get frontage. And, it's been a process, it's been going on for better part of 6 or 8 years. Before he finally got to the point where he could actually come in, with a plan with the right amount of square footage and the right amount of frontage and everything, then he got approval on it. But he's just one guy trying to do it, with his, he's good though, he'll get it done, he's very talented, very talented.
those things take time.
Yeah, these things take time, and I think he bit off a little more than you chew in the beginning, but he's getting it done. So unless anybody has any objection, Brian or Jeremiah, did you guys read through this? Do you have any questions on it?
No.
I'm not really.
Okay, all right,
Then, Mr. Chairman,
okay, thank you, David.
I move that the Community Planning Commission vote to grant the requested extension time to complete the 35 Cedar Street definitive subdivision, including the binder, utilities, and drainage for 1 year till November 21, 2024.
Hey, I have a motion,
Second.
I have a second.
Who was that?
Ryan, I think.
Brian, thank you.
Thanks, Ryan.
I think you did.
Was it a one-year extension, right?
Yeah, 1 year extension, yeah. So now, just so you understand what the extension is to get him to the point where he can bond it.
Oh.
So he's not bonding himself,
Oh,
so
okay.
I was pretty sure it was, but that means he has to get the binder in and get all the basics, then he can bond the rest of the work that needs to be done. And he could also get lot releases at that point, so. Okay, so, motion and a second, all in favor, will please say aye. Jeremiah?
Aye.
And Ryan?
Aye.
Jeff?
Aye.
And Dave?
Aye.
And myself, aye. So let the record show 5 in favor, no opposed. Okay. Any ZBA, no ZBAs today?
No.
Okay.
I can do updates if you like.
Pardon?
I can do updates if you'd like, and we'll be done after,
Oh, you gonna do your update?
if you like.
Oh, yeah, well, I'm gonna get to that. I want to make sure I
You
didn't,
get 12 minutes.
I wanted to make sure I didn't skip anything, and I want to do this, so 58 Concord Street is advertised for 8 o'clock?
Yeah.
Didn't say that on the agenda, it should say that.
You know, I just realized that it was advertised great though.
Yeah. I'll have to call Debbie up and say, all right. After all these years, I finally found a mistake.
We're gonna frame this.
Yeah. I would never do that. Okay, we can go with the planning administrator updates.
So I have been working on applying to do a test review of what we've talked about thus far for the MBTA community use rezoning. And I have all of the materials together, and what it will look like is that in the final analysis, the properties will not allow any more by right in the future than what they already have. They're actually, it'll be less than that, because the yield of the by right zoning will be 812 units, and what's already permitted on the site is over 900 units. So in order to make that work, and like we can talk about this in a little bit more detail, but I do want to send this off to the state so they can tell us if this works before we actually go to town meeting. So they'll do
So
that.
this is like a trial balloon, you gotta.
Exactly, yeah, before you actually go through the whole process. The fact that it's in the aquifer protection district limits it to
Right.
no more than 15% impervious, so we've accounted for that in the model.
Yeah.
You can still, because it's such a big area, it can be built on so much, and I should say, we're talking about 100 and 104 on Lowell Road. And it already has more impervious area than that, but in the future, should it ever be redeveloped, it can have no more than 15% unless
Lose ground, yeah.
they seek a special. So in order to make those numbers work and in order to provide for an 85% open space in that way, we will have to raise the by right height limit to 4.5 stories instead of 4. Now, half the buildings on that site are already 5 stories, so I don't really think that would be too objectionable to most people, but that does make the numbers work. If we don't do that, the numbers do not work for those 2 sites. So it would be below that. This required 750 units that we're supposed to be able to yield within that zoning district. So this is it's looking really good. If the state approves this test application, the actual rezoning that we would be asking for is really minimal, like really.
Well, it's a good thing you let Mark's Landing go to 5 stories, huh? He didn't really want to do that at the time. As a matter of fact, they had to get approval from the state in order to build that 5th story on there because it was wood construction. Remember they said that? Yeah, because that was one of the problems, because they had everything already all built, they wanted to go up one more. And because of the type of construction it was, I believe they had to get, from the state building code, they had to get permission to go put that extra story on, so.
So what we'll need to submit is our model, which is the compliance model that has all of the zoning information that shows yield. We need to submit our draft bylaw, which is I've written it up based on the existing zoning on the site, but with some tweaks in it, just to accommodate those changes that we just talked about. And then we do have to make a clarification in our site plan review bylaw. Now, we've always treated site plan review as a special permit because of the way that's worded in the zoning bylaw. But when I spoke to town council about it, what John, I think, told me is that It's actually just reviewed as a special permit, but it is not in reality a special permit because it's not discretionary as to use. So he said, you really don't have a special permit that you're doing there, you just have the site plan review that behaves exactly like one. You require full codes, that's fine. You have all of the same advertising deadlines and timeframes, that's fine.
And parking and.
But it's not a permit, it's not a special permit, it's just a thing. Which is interesting because all of these years we have treated it not just like that's like a special permit, but that is. So his recommendation is that we just clarify in our bylaw that this is a special permit review process, but it's not actually a special permit.
Right.
So that it is still a by right use.
Okay, so the reason we are doing this is because this is what's gonna be because we have to change the zoning, that's the reason we're not gonna have, we're just gonna treat it like a special permit, but it really isn't.
But even right now, it's not really a special permit, because all it says is that it's a special permit process, it's not an actual special permit. So he recommends just clarifying that in the zoning. So I think if we do those two things, we will have met all of the requirements with really very, very minimal change to what we actually.
What do you think, where do you think the pushback will come from? Martin's Landing, I don't know that that's the only place, I mean, the people in Edgewood, they don't get it from.
I mean,
Because it's all record.
you have to knock down and rebuild Martin's Landing in order to even use this bylaw. I mean, people who own those units, I don't think they're gonna want to do that, so
Well, then we don't have to, George.
right.
We don't have to tear it down, we can just leave it like it is. Because with the 5 stories, we aren't we closer to the 50%? Or 85% impervious?
Well, right now, it's already built more than that. So
Yeah.
what they have, we're just required to have by right zoning that shows the field that, what's built on the ground is
Yeah.
already beyond that. It's denser, it's higher, it covers more, it takes up more of the aquifer protection area. Like, what we're putting by right.
So it's not a negative, it's a positive that we have this already done.
Yeah, and it's kind of theoretical because we don't think in reality it would ever actually be built, but even if it was, it would be more restricted than what's there now.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's hard for me to imagine what the pushback for that could be.
Danielle, is the bylaw written in a way that is just specific to these? Yeah, these
Just
lots
this,
or parcels, they're not, I just want to understand if it is open to interpretation throughout the town, like, oh, I found another parcel, so I can use this bylaw.
No, it's just, the bylaw would just say 102 and 104 Lowell Road are the,
Okay.
Lowell family multi-family zones.
Yeah,
Okay. Must be those two. Now, the clarification to what we do with our site plan review procedures is for site plan review, every site plan review, but it's kind of it already exists. And I realize I'm describing all of this without you actually
Reading
see,
it,
because I've
yeah.
been working with town council all week on it.
But I kind of gather it from all the meetings that we've had previous.
At the next meeting, I think it'll probably be helpful for me to just kind of share with you the drafts, and you'll see how minimal the actual changes are. It's really pretty.
So does town council think that what we have is I guess I should start by saying, do they have some experience with this, getting this? Solutions, or is the state still in the process of modifying this as time goes on?
No, I think they're meaningful to the east, but until we send it to the state, I don't think we know that for sure.
So they're gonna look at what we got and say, okay, you guys are actually a little further, a little more than what we're requiring, so we should technically we should be okay unless there's a glitch and we don't know.
And yet, everything that we know
Yeah,
about
that's good.
meeting, and as far as town council understanding, there's nothing that we're not doing that, is required. I think there's one remaining question though, and that is, sorry, do you want me to, anyway.
No, sorry.
Previously, so we have been We haven't talked a lot about whether we want an affordability requirement in here. We are allowed to do 10% affordable.
Right.
Without having to do an economic feasibility analysis. Now, we got money at town meeting, and we can do an economic feasibility analysis, to do like 15% affordable. Now, if say in the future this were redeveloped, I mean, we have a lot of affordable housing on that site. So it would be a shame, I think, to not have any provision for affordability. So my recommendation would be that we say in the zoning that we want there to be 15% affordability, and we go ahead and we spend the money that we got at town meeting, we do that analysis to show that it's economically feasible.
Now, when you say the feasibility study, to say that this project could be built, and even in spite of having 15% of it affordable, it still could be a successful project.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And so what I've been hearing, at least what other consultants have been saying, and MAPC has been saying, is that when you do an economic feasibility study, the only time it's not going to pass that economically feasible test is if it's really far beyond 15%. 15% so far is not going to problem at all.
Right.
So, and you know, we did a study and we saw that 50%.
Or-
What's the advantage?
Or what's the
of that?
50% on apartments or condos or?
Just
Like
on
it?
total units developed, or we could say
'Cause I'm
on.
not seeing that as a, for my clients as development, they're struggling even because, as you know, it's based on the community, something affordable is kind of a questionable
Yeah.
thing, but because of financing thing, but if these are like apartments, then, I'm all for that, but I mean, some of we're having a hard time hitting those. So what they have in some of the communities is, the kind of call it an opt out, where the developer pays, a set amount of money. It's not small, it's a large amount of money. So you have to weigh those decisions, but we've had a hard time getting buyers that can get through the approval process. And so we're faced with almost like, well, we gotta move this thing, and we pay the city
Yeah,
the amount that they asked for, and it goes to something good,
sure.
but I'm just saying, like, the 15%, we're having a hard time on 10%, and I know that one of the communities we're already been developing for like 3 years now, they moved it up to, I think, 20. It's like it's Portland.
Okay.
You might know better, those, but they moved it to
So
20,
say they-
and we're like going, how are you gonna do that? Like, it's gonna be crazy. So I don't know about the sweet spot either, what it is, but we're having trouble with 10.
We could just do 10. If 10 is seems more reasonable, like.
Well, Dave, do you mean you can't, with the 10% that you got right now, you can't get people to qualify?
That's the problem. And on its face, it seems so attractive, right? And then what you find is they're having to beg, steal, borrow, get from friends, family. The bank, our developers even given on all the homes, he's given money to make the deal work, just so we could get someone in. So it's a lot of work,
Yeah, so so does that, well, what I'm hearing is that the criteria is not right. Because if this group of people who are supposed to be able to get into these units at these 10% affordable units can't do it, then the conditions are not right.
I know it.
So.
I agree.
So.
And that gets above my pay grade.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
Well,
I mean, it is, again, the calculus is based on it's the community you're in is the affordability part, so that can change from city to city.
So if that's, and the reason I asked that question is obviously because that means that we should probably not go above 10%.
That's fine.
If we know, that's.
Only because you want to promote it, but you also want to make it so that it's, they're successful in those 10%.
Yeah.
I mean, you can always come up with some kind of cookie to go to 50.
Not exactly, but it is 8 o'clock.
Oh,
That's okay.
And
I can, we don't have
can-
to make any decisions about that.
We can just do this and go back to Danielle, so.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's okay. I was gonna let him finish. And I thought you had something to add in, so I was gonna let you.
No, we'll go back to it. We're just, we have an
if
applicant
there's
here.
no one in the room, hey, have at it.
All right.
Let me wake this thing back up again. Okay, Okay, 58 Concord Street. Did everybody read their reading for coming? Do you understand what the question here is? So, would you state your name and,
Eric Gerard.
okay, do you want to explain to us what it is you're trying to do?
Yes, so,
Nice boots.
thank you, appreciate
Yeah,
that.
nice outfit.
Thank you. So we are trying to turn a small part of the front of the building into a retail store.
Right.
And so we're at 58 Concord Street. The rest of the building is our office for our employees, and we're trying to turn the front part into a retail store so we can service customers and sell our boots, our workwear, and accessories and all that stuff.
Okay.
Just interested too, is that what, do you sell the construction, like, or is it just everything, or are you more factory, like, what's your?
We sell all across the country, so we are mostly e-commerce business, so 99% of our business is e-commerce. Well, that's not fair. 100% of our business is e-commerce. This store would be a very small portion of it, but two things. The reason we want to do it, one is we have a lot of people that come to the office, and our HQ is in North Reading, and they want to come by, and there's people that buy equipment, and so that's one, is we can actually service them. And then two is it'll be a good environment for us to talk to customers real life and actually see and hear and feel, because we are online and we don't get that experience that you do in the retail store.
So, I do understand that we have an issue with parking. And, although the prior approval, from, the Board of Appeals, which did the site plan review at the time that the building was originally put together, did allow the 26 places to be acceptable for that building. Even though if you did the math back then, you should have had what was it, 30 something, 31, something like that. So but the reason that they didn't, so in case everybody didn't do all this stuff, the reason they didn't is because they would have had the impact to the wetlands. So they kept it like that. So the question here basically is, are we okay with leaving that decision that they made back then in place and only having 26 parking spots? So can you address that? I mean, what do you anticipate for? One of the things about retail stores is, you know, they have a different traffic pattern than and your people that are coming to work and parking and never getting their car all day.
Yeah.
So you have you know, traffic, and you have the traffic for your store and parking requirements for the retail outlet. So what do you anticipate on that?
So we expect we'll have 3 customers an hour. So if we're open from 8 to 5 but to solve it, I think what we'll do is we'll make a certain amount of spots deeded for customers only.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever you guys, you know, whether it's 3 or we can even go up to 5, it really won't matter. So employees should have enough room. If all of a sudden we hired so many employees that we actually ran out of space, 54 Concord Street is also owned by the same owner. And the tenant there uses very little, and so we could easily set up an agreement where we could spill over. We'd have the employees spill over there so that customers have to worry.
So the question would be, and I've seen this done before too, is 54 willing to give something in writing saying that you could park there?
I don't think that'd be an issue.
That would be just I've seen that done before a number of different times.
Yeah. I think we're far away from spillover, but we can get Randy Lilly, who's the owner there, to say.
So what the concern here is that we make sure that we can actually provide, or that you can actually provide the amount of parking that would normally be required, even if you would do it by lease or of other properties, so that we don't run into a situation where somebody says, well, you let them only get funds, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, and as long as we know how many we can block just for customers that never get filled by employees, we'll order the signs and say, you know, put up customer parking only.
Well, again, you know, your maximum traffic flow might happen, say, this time of year, when somebody comes to see you to buy presents.
Yep.
So you could have a bit of floor traffic there, and it may be, so if you could get your 54 to just give you a dedicated like 6 spots,
Yep.
okay, then you could give 6 spots up on your side, and I'm sure that would probably be more than.
Well, the thing is, we don't even fill the 20.
Yeah.
Because, so,
Then it have more than less, so if you want me to think.
You could just say there for you, if needed, that he has no objection to your.
Maybe you only need 4.
You know, they might never get used, but
Yeah,
at least
yeah.
have an agreement where
yeah.
spillover could be used.
But the question to ask him is how many do we need to ask, you know, like. Cause we got 20, or there's 26.
26 now, right?
26 now, yeah. So it may take us a year or two to actually say we separated 5, so we have
5.
21 left. We have, say we take 10 and we have another 11. How many do I need to ask him to?
Well, how many people are in the building? How many?
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, we have about 6 people in the building. And then Thursdays, we flex up to like 10.
So at 26, you really already have more than you need.
Yeah, because we have 50 employees, but we're in 22 states. Most of them live all around the country, not in Massachusetts.
Okay, well, I'm just trying to work something out so that we.
Yeah,
you know.
no, but the thing is, you know, a year or 2 years or 3 years from now, we might actually have more employees. So, yeah,
I'll get so anyway.
that's the hope.
I don't know, employees are a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
See, they know. No, we obviously wish you the best.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so what was Danielle, is it 31 the number that they should?
31 is the number that the zoning would call for, like
Okay,
today, you know, for all of it.
so you go 5.
So 5, okay.
So if you get 54 to give you 5 or
Yep.
to allow you to use 5
Yeah, in writing.
in anyway, in writing.
Yep.
Then I think that the rest of it is fine.
Perfect.
And that's a good way to solve it. And I've
Yeah, that's
done that
great.
before.
Yep, I don't think that'll be an issue.
Yeah, usually it isn't because, you know, they know you're.
Exactly.
10 years before you have to use them. So,
They have like 3 cars in their lot for like
yeah,
double.
well, this
Oh.
was,
Excuse me, not 31, 32,
32.
because of the.
So 6 spots.
6.
Yes, we can. Right, 6 spots.
Good try, Dave.
Okay,
So do we want to make this conditional on that? Daniel, can we do that?
Yeah,
I mean, just so,
Sure.
yeah, we can vote it and then, you know, on the condition that he provide us with from, you know, that's all.
my guess is he's pretty responsive to me. I could probably get that like besides the holiday, probably a week or so.
Yeah, so, okay, well, what I'm thinking of is if there, well, first let me check with the board, Ryan and Jeremiah, do you have any questions for this gentleman?
No, thank you, Warren.
No, not really.
Okay, and, Jeff, you would think,
No.
see where we're
I
going.
don't know.
All right, so I will probably, so I would entertain a motion to approve this. And in the motion, it needs to just stipulate that you will provide us with a letter from the adjoining property allowing you the temporary use of 6 spots should it be necessary. It could be really loosely written, and once you provide that, you get it. You're all set.
Awesome. I'll work on that immediately.
Our job is to help you. That's.
Yeah, no.
I think it's cool business. I'm glad.
Yeah.
Glad to see it, so.
We're doing what we can.
Yeah, well, you know, every little bit helps, and we need all the industry and all the commercial that we can get, because it's you know, for kids in school and
Yeah,
it's good money for the town, so
appreciate it.
we like to see the growth. Okay, I think Dave's modifying that motion to make it all.
I'm trying to figure where to insert this, January. Okay, I got it. So, Mr. Chairman, I move that the Community Planning Commission vote to approve the site plan application for 58 Concord Street dated October 19th, 2023. Subject to the term and conditions, including providing the applicant, the applicant providing a letter stating that the owner of 45 Concord Street will. 54?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry, 58, 54 for neighbor, we're looking to
58?
get parking from. So
58.
58, yeah,
58.
yeah.
Owner of 58 Concord Street will allow for the use of 6 parking spaces.
Sorry, I
54.
screwed him up.
54.
Yes, you are right.
It is 54.
Yeah.
Okay.
54 is gonna,
Back up.
allow us the parking.
Yes, that's what I said.
Yeah,
54.
sorry.
Sorry. I'll
I'm
back
keeping
up.
track.
Yeah.
No problem.
I don't.
I mix them up all the time too.
Yeah, that's
Not a
okay.
problem. Providing that the applicant will furnish a letter stating that the owner of 54 Concord Street will allow for the use of 6 parking spaces.
Should it be necessary?
Certificate can, hang on, subject to terms and conditions of the certificate of approval dated November 21, 2023 as amended this evening. Jeez, I screwed up that motion, but I think
Okay,
it set it off.
yeah, we'll fix it.
I'll do it.
Okay, so I have a motion, do I have a second?
Sure, a second.
Okay, thank you, Jeff. So, all those in favor, Jeremiah?
Aye.
And Ryan?
Aye.
Okay, and Jeff,
Aye.
Dave, and myself, aye. Well, there you go.
Thanks, Eric.
There's what you need-
Good luck.
Yeah.
There's what you need and a solution for the whole situation.
There you go. We'll get it done.
Okay,
Thank you.
good.
Eric, where do you make the boots or
So we have,
Stop,
we just.
he does it.
Yeah, exactly. So we have a team, we have a global supply chain team now. We were all over in China. We're actually moving all production to Cambodia. Now that the business got bigger, we got a top tier factory that makes top tier boots for Red Wing and some of these bigger boots. And so quality's going way up starting in February, because quality's already good, but quality's going way up, and the production, they can scale to the production capacity that we need to. Our last partner is having trouble keeping up with it.
Mhm.
So
Good.
yeah, that's where the boots are made, and then apparel's in India, Bangladesh. We have some stuff in the US and in Vietnam. So we're in 6 countries basically.
It's great.
Is there a brand name other than Red Wing that you deal with? Gurney or Schmidt, they make boots.
The 2 biggest, there's 3 big competitors. Our biggest is Red Wing.
Yeah.
Second is Timberland Pro, third is Wolverine.
Yeah.
The boot side, and the apparel side, it's Carhartt, Duluth Trading, and Dickies.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Wolverine used to make some pretty good stuff.
Yeah, not anymore.
Not anymore, I know.
Stockings, yeah.
But I had a pair of
When you get
Wolverine.
that pay goes and you know.
I had them for quite a while. They were just absolutely awesome. Then when I went to replace them, nope,
Not the same.
not even close. And,
Yeah.
and they didn't, I could tell right off. But I bought it.
Yeah,
Bought it down seeing a little while.
come on, yeah,
Because I mean,
Great.
I think it's a cool business to add to this town.
yeah,
Yeah,
I just know, I'm actually quite excited about it.
yeah,
I know, wow, whoo.
yeah.
But
There are a lot
I
of people that are waiting, wanting something, so
Yeah,
whether it's, you know,
I think it's cool.
we're gonna need more space one day, that's the
Yeah.
exciting.
Good
Okay, I
problem.
can see it.
Come back.
Yeah.
I may still be here, I don't know.
Probably.
Yeah. I've only been here for 31 or 32 years so
Wow,
far.
wow, that's incredible.
And, I keep trying to leave, but the door's locked all the time. Okay, good.
And then I'll get that letter, then that'll come to you.
Good, come to her and
Perfect.
all will be good. And the best of luck. We wish you luck on your.
Thank you, I appreciate it. You swing by once we get things going.
I hope everything works
From metal
out.
cards, if you guys wanted to, so you're gonna have to take a pit. Oh, it's taking a picture. That's so cool. And then
Yeah.
you can swing by and see me anytime. I'm there Monday through Friday,
Yeah. Well, we're
8
just looking
AM
forward-
to 9 PM.
We're just looking forward to having you have a successful.
Click that
business.
little yellow thing.
Yeah.
Oh, click that. There you go. So let that, watch that. It's even cooler.
Did you guys actually vote?
Yep.
I'll get that.
Sorry.
I'll load up all my contact.
I'm keeping track.
Yeah, he's on the ball.
I'm sorry. Did you make
Oh, yeah,
that?
for your time.
I made the motion, but yeah, that
Come on by, I can remember.
chopped up one.
Yeah, second.
Yeah, I got one of these, but, oh, yeah, fine.
So then hit the plus button.
Oh, Eric, come here, let me take a picture of it.
And then
Yeah, this is really cool, Dave.
saved to my phone.
What is it,
Oh, that's awesome.
So hit the yellow, once, click that. Yep, hit the yellow, let it load. So. All my info.
Great,
So then hit the little bottom right.
this one, right?
Yep, add the phone. So you got my email, myself. Really tired.
Okay, so everything's in the email.
Everything's in your phone now. My phone, and I'm easy to get a hold of. Perfect. Just stop by. I'm in the office.
Thank you.
I buy all
7
my-
days a week. I'm in with my boys, my 6-year-old, my 2-year-old, Saturdays and Sundays, and with the employees Monday through Friday.
That's great.
I buy all my product from China too, so I.
All right. Thank
Good
you
luck,
all.
Eric. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
How would you hit on it?
All right, well,
Wow, that was exciting. Someone comes in and talks about boots and we get fired up.
It's mostly, it's a down to earth business, you know, and it's one that this town would like to have,
That would be really beneficial, I think, yeah, blue collar town,
yeah.
just trying to, yeah, that's great, that's really.
So, I think that's us, right?
we got more.
Yeah,
Yep.
thanks for the update.
Oh,
So
okay.
I just wanted to make sure that you knew this, since we last talked about the MBTA community stuff and, presented to the school committee, that basically everything that we've had spoken about, I put into this test review application. I did want to just let you know, 4.5 stories would need to be part of it because otherwise the numbers don't work, but everything else works about it.
Why, it's 4.5 stories, you know, you're not, what are we gonna make a full for the apartment?
It's dormer.
Huh?
Yeah, it's dormers, they consider like the, dormer.
Yeah, like
floor.
without the dormer, so it's like this, but without the,
They're still pretty big.
yeah.
Yeah.
units. They're kind of cool, actually, if you do it right.
Yeah,
All right, 4.5,
but I did just
didn't
want
sound right to me.
because we haven't spoken about it a whole lot, I did wanna ask you, I don't have to include the affordability component if we want one or not. I don't have to include it now. I think it would be helpful to include, I mean, town council recommends we include everything that we want. But if you would like me to include it now, if you're not sure, we wanna talk about it at the next meeting. I'd like to submit it for test review soon, because it takes them 3 months. It doesn't have to be immediately. We can certainly talk about this at the next meeting.
So my only concern. There's a sunset clause on Edgewood there, so having stuff that's affordable, having. You know, so that we don't end up behind the 8 ball again. So, I mean, the 10% is, I think is doable, and although even Dave's saying that even that's a little problematic, so I wouldn't want to go much more than that. But I think if we don't, after all of our talk and things and research that we've done and housing stuff, not to have 10% in there would make us look a little hypocritic. And so I don't want to be, I wouldn't want to do that. So, and I think probably, in the last couple of years, probably building anything affordable is probably a possibility practically, but I
I know.
think that's going to change. Lumber's gotten better again already.
Yeah, that's helping.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I'm fine with the 10% because I just think that's everywhere. It's a very,
expected.
it's expected. It's a nice, what I say nice, it's manageable.
Right.
The developer can swing that.
Yeah.
It's when it starts climbing. And I get why cities want to do that, but it just doesn't seem, the ones I've seen work, it's not working out in practice.
And I think that's actually why the state is telling us that if we want any more than 10%, we have to do this economic feasibility
Yeah.
analysis to show that it's.
If we want developers,
Right.
you need successful developers.
Right, right.
You don't want to make your developers poor.
Yeah,
Right.
so. Don't want it to fail halfway through the
Yeah.
project.
So they
We had
fear,
one of those before.
Yeah. So I think that's the way to go. And
What do you think, John? 10% work for you? So,
I mean, that seems to be a standard number that, and I understand like what, Dave is explaining. Yeah, I'm not really sure about the number, to be honest with you, I'm not.
What do you think, 5% or something?
No, I'm just not sure about it.
Oh, okay.
kind of do,
You know, with the 10%, the 10% tends, I'm sorry, the 10% comes, 10% of our units we have to have 10% of our housing affordable in order to protect ourselves from 40Bs. So by putting 10% into the development that happens, we maintain status quo as we add on housing. So we don't get unfriendly 40Bs.
Yeah.
That's,
I mean, I just think
that's
that,
the state's number.
no, I understand that. I just think that, I just think that, whatever we decide or however we go about this, we definitely need to gather and input enough information. Like, so if we start to, I mean, how's the community feel about 10%? I don't know. How do they feel about 5%? How do they feel about 15%? Honestly, that's why I can't honestly say that I can answer that question.
Yeah.
And I know what you're saying with the 40B, but does the town, if the town decides that, you know what? We don't care about the 40B, or we're gonna do this, or we wanna do that, or wait, let's go 15, whatever, just to shut them up and be done. I don't know. I really don't know how to answer that question right now. Honestly, I don't.
I think it's okay if we don't answer it right now, so what we do. So we're just asking for a test review of the zoning, but that's not the zoning that we're locked into asking for. If we, I mean, I think it would be smart to have the state look at our proposal, tell us generally, yes, this will work, but then we still have to have the community meetings, we still have to have the public hearing. I do think that we should have, in the meantime, while we're waiting for the test review, I do think we should have public meeting, like we talked about, to allow the community to come and give some input about this and have a little bit further discussion. I mean, and talk about the affordability maybe that's already there versus what we're talking about versus what it's going to be, in 2038 when some of those units expire. And we don't really have to make a final decision now. The one thing that we do have to do is if we really want to be more than 10%, then we have to make sure we get on with that economic feasibility analysis. That's the one requirement. Otherwise, we're allowed to choose any level of affordability. Choose 0, we can choose 10, and anything in between.
Based on the demographics of this community, I don't think we need more than 10%. To be honest with you, so
we had
10% is what the state wants us to do. I would hate to run into a situation with grants or something like that, where if you not towing the line, not doing the 10% they want us to do, so.
it also depends what the grant is too.
Yeah.
And what are you actually losing, or are you gaining, or who knows? And
Yeah.
is the grant going to be guaranteed, or they'll put it out there and then 3 years later they dissolve it. There's no more money for the grant. Well, I mean, you've seen, I mean, that's so like.
Well, I mean, they've already threatened us with the loss of grant rights to this thing here. So again, the 10%.
Well, what grant rights are they talking about?
Well, if they gave us a whole list of things.
So, I mean, if we chose not to comply, that's when we would stand to lose a lot of state funding and a number of grants. But I mean, as far as there's no affordability requirement for what the state is asking for in this bylaw, that's up to the town.
So I think too that we should know what we're looking at. What grants are available? How will it impact the community? And
I mean, that wouldn't be for what you mean for having more affordability in this? I don't know of a grant that would.
Not affordability, it's more the main
I got
provision
you.
of the MBTA law. Like,
okay.
you need to have that, else they can.
It's not even just a loss of grants anymore. They put out an attorney general statement saying the communities just have to comply. It's not just, you can't just choose not to comply.
Right.
So it's a whole bunch of state funding for a whole bunch of things, and it's other things too, like legal stuff they would kind of go out with. But it's not just initially it was like, these are the 3 grant programs you won't have access to, but then they clarified to say you have to comply. And yes, we lose
They clarified after a town filed suit. That's why they clarified. That's when they came back and said, oh, by the way, we're gonna throw all this other stuff in there to the list that. So, I think there's a fair argument though with that town and any town on the question, because when you jump in is when, and I'll give a good example right now, because there's a lot of builders in the group here, and is the stretch code thing. A lot of building inspectors are rolling their eyes at the stretch code. The stretch code started out kind of like this 10% thing as a great goal to increase the efficiency of the current energy code at the time. I don't know what it was, the EICC, and you just had to be 10% better than that.
Yeah.
So
So-
that was a decent goal, right? And they did that in most of the towns. There's 351 communities in Massachusetts, about 300 of them adopted the stretch code, somewhere around 2008 to 10 range. A lot of them, it shows there's that, list in Massachusetts has a listing. Problem is, then everyone's like, we're good, we're helping out 10%.
Yeah, well,
They came back now they came
You're
back.
not, yeah.
No, now they come back.
Super
And they-
stretch code.
Well, it's super, that's the opt-in, but even just the expanded stretch, which is you're just automatically, if your town voted and you need to vote in order to be stretched, if by whatever, committee, planning board, whatever, select board, depending on the town. And so now it's somewhere around 50% better, depending on the type of construction. It's crazy. It's adding an amazing amount of cost.
yeah.
Residential went into it. In fact, Jerry Noel will tell you about residential one, because people are just eye popping when they find out what they need to do, when they do a renovation or whatever. It's totally different than it was. But that started in January 1st and commercial went into effect July. My point just being is that's a good example of the state starting out with a little bait and switch.
Yeah.
It gets the town to do it, and then the town's in a tough position because it's really difficult for not only the owners and residents of the town, but any developer that wants to build, because that's what we're going through right now in a number of projects, one in Canton, one in Watertown, and the stretch code's killing us. Just for it's some of the HVAC requirements and EV parking spots everywhere, PV ready everywhere, all this kind of stuff that just add enormous amount of costs to the project. So this, and where Jeff, I've heard before, not just tonight, is hesitant on this MBTA thing is, and I've said it before at the co-meeting with the school committee, I'm all on board with, with this, but what's the next one? We just want this little taste, but then they're back within a year or two asking for, not asking, demanding, because you opt in. So what Jeff's doing.
I'm sorry, I feel I need to.
Sorry, go ahead.
So the difference really between the same communities is it's not an opt-in, it's an everyone has to do it.
Yeah, it's not.
So we don't have it, it's not like we're voting and yes.
Yeah, but Danielle, I think to be fair, there, and to go, and we could watch what happens with this lawsuit, is when did we never opted in, and that's kind of the argument
No,
with.
it's not.
Yeah, right, but what I mean is, it's a misnomer to say your MBTA community used the term when a community never opted into that. So college just forced. Well, no, but let me just expand. What I'm saying is, like the stretch code or whatever, people actually had to vote for it. The requirement for MBTA community was a vote in process at the time. Now they've changed all the wording on the website now, so it doesn't look like that would ever happen. It just poof, goes away. But the community was supposed to vote whether they wanted to be an MBTA community. So there is some validity to the claim, like, when did we get in and did we vote it? Did we have it in? And it's the same as the stretch code. Because right now, if you just, what if the state just said, well, let me just finish. What if the state just said to everyone, I know you never voted for stretch code, but we're making everybody have to do super stretch code. And you'd be like, wait, but we never.
Just changing the parameters.
Right.
They're changing the parameters of the building code, and so everybody is subject to it. That's it.
Right.
It doesn't have to be called stretch code.
Right. They could do that.
The federal government has decided that in order to.
But don't call it MBTA community is my point. Don't call it MBTA community. It's just the new forced housing, authority program or whatever. It's not MBTA community if you never voted into MBTA community. Like, it's just using the MBTA term in a weird way. Like, what does it have to do with MBTA if you never opted in?
Is that they're looking for places where there's public transportation to expand the housing.
Which we don't have.
Well, yeah, we don't have, but.
But that's what I'm saying. It's kind of a weird.
Concept is to expand housing near public trans so that people don't drive cars.
Yeah,
and
but if you don't have it,
emissions and,
it doesn't make any sense.
To make the whole, make the world a better place, so to say.
Absolutely, but if you're an MBTA community near, and all these things that you just mentioned,
What's the
MBTA
R rating
stations.
they want involved now?
Where's the what?
R rating,
Oh, God, it's gotta be,
34, something?
no, I don't think it's in the 30s, it's 20 in the 20s, it wasn't 19, as you know. the roof's up to now 40,
40,
40, yeah.
It's unbelievable. I was talking.
Anyways, we're getting way off.
If there's still a little bit of doubt as far as compliance, do you want me to just get a council's opinion that make us feel better as far as moving forward?
To do what?
Do you want me to just get like a town council opinion?
You're, cause Jeff's just you're a Genesis guy, you're just, and I totally get, like
Yeah.
I'm saying, I respect where Jeff's coming from because he's just looking for when did this town vote for it?
Well, it's actually a vote that was taken, so.
But
But we were promised.
that's
the vote
that's
was
all he's
taken
asking
because
for, that's all.
theoretically we were gonna get transportation. But then a
Yeah.
few years later, when we didn't get it, I think that in the
Yeah,
beginning.
breach
we
of
were-
contract. No,
In the
Yeah,
beginning,
good
we
luck
were
with that.
paying.
I'm just
I
kidding.
forget what it was, but we were paying like $160,000 a year.
Yeah, I heard a bunch of people at the town meeting get up and voice their concerns about it, so.
Yeah, I don't know. I just.
You can speak for yourself, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, it's all right, and you definitely hit some points. I mean, just from the beginning of trying to wrap my head around this from the very beginning, it
Yeah.
just seems it's not. Just what I'm looking at just doesn't seem right. It just, if I'm, looking at certain things on their website and they change midstream, I'm like, wait a minute, what's going on? And then, and then you guys are trying to do your best in here, and I'm having a hard time swallowing this one. I just am, and we're talking about grants and all, and I know how the state operates when that happens, and I know what they do,
They were heavy-handed about it at the beginning.
well, you know what? I mean, and that's the other thing, Mike. I understand, like, we have to, it's a law, I get that, so we have to do something.
Well,
But I just don't wanna swallow the pill, I just don't wanna do it.
Well, the town brought an action against them, it actually got that whole thing with the grants reduced. So it's not as if you can't fight it to some extent, but.
I mean, Holden, what is it, Tom Holden? Is it Holden?
It's Holden that's doing it.
Yeah, I mean, Holden, if you look at the demographics of Holden,
Yeah.
it's like an exact replica of North Reading.
Well,
They don't have any buses that go through.
yeah,
They're so much like us.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, wait a minute, what's going on out there? What's the big stink over
we
there?
have more people.
Well, I mean, it's very similar. Even the landmass and how they have, their land is set up and their conservation land and all it's very, very similar to North Reading. And yet their whole part of their argument is, well, how can we be an autonomous community, right? We have a town government. How can we be autonomous? And yet this is something we have to do. So like the town loses autonomy.
Well,
And-
the word Commonwealth comes to mind.
Yeah, I know, right? So that's also,
Hey,
that's for another day, but you get me going with that one, but
Well, I'm sorry, but.
I know, and it is true, but I mean, I'm very hesitant,
A lot of times, a lot of states are Commonwealth, that's what they do.
just very hesitant to really push too fast without knowing exactly because we represent the people here, we have to do the right thing. And I just don't want to rubber stamp anything when it comes to this type of stuff, because we're talking about 900 and something units that,
They're already there.
They're already there.
right? Okay, so, and an additional, how many?
No, not additional.
Not
instead
additional.
of.
Oh, instead of,
Yeah.
okay,
See, Jeff, that's why.
I know.
That's why I don't have as much problems with this first step, but I share your same skepticism of the state's intentions. It's well intentioned, trust me, I'm not trying to say people's intentions are bad here, but they tend to then get a little giddy with the power after they get, and then they want more. And the more is more painful, like such as this stretch code, that's very painful jump. It didn't go up to 20%. They jumped up to 50+% on a warehouse building or on a commercial building. That's a huge jump.
I had a meeting and we were talking about this very thing.
Yeah.
And it was just awful. This meeting was awful. I had 120 inspectors, local inspectors in the room, and this whole thing came up, and it actually was the town of Lexington. A representative from the town of Lexington was talking about the stretch code and how everybody thought it was great, and they all kind of, yep. And now they're talking about the advanced and the super and what their requirements are and what, like and you're right, Dave, EV vehicles, and now you got all this underground wiring that you didn't have before, like all this, it's amazing, all the stuff that they're throwing, and the cost, I don't think anybody looked at the cost. The costs are astronomical, and all these inspectors were just besides themselves, because they're boots on the ground, they're the guys that are in it.
Yeah.
They see it every day, and it's very, very difficult. It's creating a lot of problems, and it started with good intentions, and then it's just.
And maybe it's a timing thing too, and Ryan can attest to this because, maybe because he's in this business, but maybe it was, when money was zero, the cost of money.
Yeah, right.
But the developers right now are on the razor thin edge on profitability on a pro forma on a project.
Right.
And the cost of money is making these additions, and you add these up, VRF systems, the EV parking.
Relaxing in that, but
It starts to get like to where the pro forma doesn't make any sense.
Right.
And you can make more money just stuffing your money in a bank
Yeah.
right now than risking everything on a development, just to be busy for a year. You might as well just leave it in the bank if you're a money guy, and I'm not a money guy. I'm a worker bee. But I'm just saying, I can see the reasoning and I'm seeing the numbers coming back. So, we're getting like way off road here, and I get my 4-wheel drive on. But the point being though, I get what Jeff's saying, so I'm on board with everything this bylaw is for and everything like that. I do agree that maybe we just pause a little bit on the affordability to get the feedback from the community,
But the community would have to have it all explained to them about.
Yeah, no problem, but that's part of a workshop, right? That's all part of a workshop, so I'm all good with that, but I do agree with Jeff on the hesitancy part moving forward. So I'm all totally good with what we're doing right now on this, but that's my position.
So what else you got today?
Well, if I could just wrap up one little thing with this one, 2 points, I guess. Do you want me to go ahead and submit the test review, or do you want to discuss this?
No, I want you to get a review on it.
Okay.
Because
Do you want me to submit it without any affordability language? We are at liberty.
Yeah, we might as well keep it out for now.
We can always have it.
Yeah,
Okay.
That's fine. Okay, I will. do
I
that.
agree with Jeff.
Okay.
And my final question was just follow up this, if it would set your minds at ease at all, I'd be happy to talk to town council to get their opinion on what, if they have a recommendation, just in terms of our obligations or what they see as, I don't know, if they had any type of, do you want me to ask you? I certainly don't have to, but if it helps to set your mind at ease, I will. It's what you're comfortable with.
I'm not sure it's really, I mean, just my opinion, I don't think right now that would be necessary, I don't think.
If it ever becomes.
If something comes up and we really are struggling with something amongst us, then I would definitely say, sure, at that point, yeah, why not? But at this point, I don't think that's necessary. I mean, just my opinion, I don't know how you fellows feel.
I'm good with that.
Yeah,
I'm fine with that.
Okay, great.
Okay,
So just moving on to a couple other updates, I wanted to put the RFP for 7 St. Teresa's on our agenda tonight, but I just got it back from town council and it needs a little bit of work, but I'm going to aim to have it on our agenda for next week, so we can get the ball rolling.
Great. That's good news.
The date for our joint meeting with the select board, I had passed along that January 18th seems to work for everyone. I have not yet heard whether that works for them. So stay tuned. I'll let you know as soon as I know if we're going to be meeting that night. And then I have been asked to submit our budget for the year. I can have that ready. I'm not really going to be proposing any changes to our budget between last year and this year, but I will put the budget documents for our discussion at our next meeting so you can take a quick look. And
we still holding on to the Economic Development Committee money.
we do ask for $20,000 every year for that. If you guys want to weigh in on that and have a discussion.
No, I mean, no, I you already know how I feel about that. I think if we're gonna do that, then it behooves us to put a little time and effort into finding a project for them.
Mhm.
Because other than that, we're not getting anywhere. If they're gonna give us the funding and we're gonna use it for them, because I mean, there's lost interest, that's why they don't show up.
I think what would be great is if I could really get things going with 70 Concord Street, which would be a great project for them. But
Yeah.
that might take some time, but you know, it's totally worth a discussion, I think we should talk about it when we talk about the.
That's probably.
Seventy's the cleanup.
Well, and you know, that's like one of the things. I mean, if we give them 2 or 3 things to chew on, to work on, I mean. If we can give them some things to work on, they can obviously do something good for the town. If we can give them something and they can be successful in some of them, it's good for the town. So it's money well spent and effort well put forth. So, but just my thoughts, if we're gonna continue to ask for that money, we all need to get together at a meeting or something and bring as many ideas as we can to put something together for them. Thank you.
I will put that on the agenda for next time, we can have a more thorough discussion about budget, so you can have the numbers in front of you, not you,
70
in
Concord Street
January.
is one of the items. Let's see what else we can find.
Okay,
70 Concord Street is
Yeah.
one. Let's see what else we can find.
and that's all I have.
All right.
Thank you, Danielle.
Thank you. When was our next meeting scheduled? I'm sorry.
When we,
December 5th would be our next meeting, does that work for everyone?
Yeah. Yeah.
the Tuesday, sorry. It's like, this was Friday. No, everyone down.
Yeah.
December 5th and then December 19th, those are our 2 upcoming December.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, well, happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
Yeah, you too. Safe travels on Thursday morning. That should be.
Yeah, good luck with that. You're great.
Okay, we're they're now gonna call us officially adjourned. For the purpose of the-
Okay,
You can turn the recording.
oh, yes. Good night, guys.
Good night.
Yeah.
Bye.
Everybody.
Good night, Jeremiah.
Good night. Happy Thanksgiving, guys.
Brian.
Have fun, guys.